I'm gonna do some martial arts now. I'm also gonna use these lightsabers. Not just as bright lights, but light bright. So, I want to talk to y'all about martial arts. Before I go any further, before I light up the sky. There's a lot of things you gotta understand about a weapon, alright? As you've seen me screw up with those lightsabers like 4 or 5 times, you can't do that with an actual sword. Do that with the actual sword, it's more than likely you're going to disembowel yourself, eviscerate yourself, or all out screw yourself up for the rest of your life. So you're gonna learn sword techniques. A couple of martial arts that emphasize sword techniques are ninjutsu, Shaolin Ryu, Wing Chun, and Wushu. Traditional Okinawa karate also does swords, if you're into that kind of thing. I'm not into swords, but it doesn't hurt to know how to use one. Dueling, fencing, Chinese longsword. None of that shit's my flavor. I prefer wooden weapons. So, let's work on your blocks. Block, 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 block. Most of those I was taught with my lightsaber class, but this has nothing to do with that. This is more Chinese and Japanese sword work. And Aikido also. So, you have your thrust, and you have your lunge thrust. Alright? No rules on how you step. You have your quick strike. You have your block strike. You block, strike, block, strike. You have that. You don't get fancy with this shit in Aikido unless you're just like working your wrist. And you never release your weapon if you can help it. So, high left, high right, low left. Sometimes that works in the opposite direction. But if you're going to sword fight and your opponent's close enough, block, kick, block, kick. Now my ultimate weapon is my body. This thing here is just an extension. But so I talked a lot about the X block in another video. And the X block's like this, so that if I don't have a sword and you're coming at me, my job is to get your wrist. So if you're coming down and I get your wrist, I catch your wrist, not your sword. Unless you have a like exceptionally long handle and I can get your sword handle depending on where your hand is. See, if your hand's way back here, I catch up here. If your hand's way up here, I'll try to catch there. As a shorter person, and they're coming down, and you're doing this X block, you want to sidestep and you want to grab the wrist. It's better to grab your opponent's wrist than trying to grab the blade because the hand is quicker than the eye. So if you're coming down, you're receiving it, your X block, grab the wrist, push them this way, knee them that way, elbow them. Now you have disarmed them. That was what I was taught in Aikido. Now, lightsaber training's a whole different ball game, so that's just not going to happen. But for Aikido, when they're coming at you this way and you don't have your weapon, so if you're in like longbow here, is where you block, you will catch their wrist or the hilt. Do not try to catch the blade like a ninja. Fuck that shit. You'll be out of hands and fingers. They'll just cut right through. So don't do that shit. Movie and real things, different, completely different. So your X block, catch the hilt or catch their wrist. Do not try to catch the blade because you're going to lose your hand. Both of them. Depending on how many times that damn blade's been folded. So, block, catch, pull, knee, elbow. Now you have their weapon. Take off. So basically, it would like they're coming at me. I'm going to block. I got their wrist. I'm going to pull them. I'm going to elbow them, or I'm going to knee them. And I have their weapon now because they're right here. So if I knee them, elbow them, now I gave their weapon slack so I can take it from them. And now I have their weapon and they don't. And with that motion, I intended on hitting them. So they come down. I've caught them in the X block. I've got the wrist of the opponent, not the hilt. It's safer to get the wrist. So they're coming down and I'm grabbing the wrist. So we're like this. Now I'm twisting this way, adding a little judo to the mix. Pulling, knee, kung fu, other elbow, kung fu, step through, take off their head. I understand how that works. That is from Aikido with a tiny bit of judo and a tiny bit of kung fu. I wish I had an opponent that I could actually demonstrate that with. It looks much better when you actually have someone instead of trying to be, this is the guy swinging, you're the guy receiving. Block, pull, elbow, elbow, etc. And what it actually was is block, pull, knee, elbow, disarm, behead. Now the thing with this is, a weapon can be taken from you at any time. So all of this fancy maneuvering crap, whew, it's just that. It's fancy maneuvering crap. Now, I'm better with my hands and feet than I am with any weapon. So slice. This thing's gonna need charging. So again, boom, boom, boom. Again, I'm better with my weapons than I am with this thing. My weapons, right, right, left, left. Before you ever touch a weapon, you must become the weapon. Anything that you put in your hand is an extension of your training. Providing you were trained properly. Can't speed up live TV. I am that fast. Now, the thing I tell you about using your hands and your feet first. Because to be honest, you're not always going to have a magical lightsaber. You're not always going to have a stick or a gun or a knife. So, knowing a style, recognizing a style, and beating that style, or the person using that style to the punch, is very important. So, Wing Chun, low, mid-range, high, block, strike, strike, block, strike, strike, strike. From this side, better. Block, strike, block, strike, block, strike, block, strike. Hopefully you guys can see this. Block, strike, low, mid-range, high. Now what was you thinking? If I was boxing, it'd be southpaw. So again, jab, 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 jab. Now, I fucked you up with that one, right? So, jab, jab. There, I'm saving the left. Jab, jab. Now, for Wing Chun and Kung Fu, it's a southpaw stance. Low, target. Middle, target. High, target. Same thing on this side. Low, middle, high. Now, when you're doing karate, things differ up. So, going karate, block, counter, boom. Doing karate, block. There you go. What I should have did was this though. Block, counter, and then kick. Because that's what I did the other side. Block, counter, kick. Alright? Now for Kung Fu, totally different. Block, strike, kick. Block. You have to understand how martial arts actually work. You want power, you do more Kung Fu. with directness, where you do more karate with power. Hopefully I got that worded right. Let me rephrase it. And my nose is running because the weather's shifting. Okay, so karate is mostly about power. So if I'm left-handed and I'm doing a karate block, this is my right hand, block, count with my stronger hand. Because I'm also in the left southpaw fighting stance for boxing. Then if I was doing this Wing Chun and I wanted to be left-handed, I'd go over to a standard base. So block strike for Kung Fu, block counter for karate. Understand that the strike is also a counter. So this is where Kempo kicks in. Block, boom, versus block, boom. Now Kung Fu, you try to get your opponent to the outside. So you are on the outside of his body. That means you're over here. So he threw a punch directly, you got over here, break an elbow, slide down the arm, hit the throat, break an elbow, slide down the arm, under the arm, hit ribs or liver. Kidneys, depending on what side you're on. Kidney down here, kidney over here. Liver's over here, ribs, kidney, everything else over here. But you only have one liver, it's on the right side of your body. Lungs in the middle, between the ribs. So, you want to know enough about the human anatomy to get this done right. And I need to go blow my nose because my nose is running. Code Fabric number 2, I'll be right back. Instagram, stay there.